I assume that professional footballers don't smoke. These 10 athletes, though, beg to differ. I'm prepared to be surprised by some of the folks on this list, particularly the last one. Let's begin with the one that might be a little clearer. Mr. Mario Balotelli. He never gave a fig about what other people thought. Super Mario acts as he pleases at all times, and it appears that smoking was one of those things. Throughout his career, Balotelli was repeatedly caught smoking, and the media did not spare him for it, especially when he struggled for goals at Liverpool. It became so severe that he even encountered legal issues. Fortunately, it wasn't because he was smoking something forbidden. Rather, it was just that he was observed smoking on a train. But what's this? Simply put, Mario wouldn't quit smoking. Yet because of how well known he was, AC Milan had to include a clause in his signing agreement prohibiting him from smoking and drinking. Consider yourself the attorney who wrote the deal. He stopped smoking after that and has never been spotted doing so since. Never seen. Keywords. Yet, as soon as he departed AC Milan, he was back to exhaling clouds, and the day he was apprehended once more just made matters worse. On the day of his Brescia debut, when they were scheduled to play Juventus, he was discovered smoking. Mario, that's a big match. What were you contemplating? Yet once more, Super Mario follows his own wishes. As the next player on the list spent years playing with Balotelli, it might be an Italian thing. The night before PSG's game with Manchester United was Neymar's birthday party, despite the fact that the game was going to be close. With such a crucial match coming up, one would anticipate that players would remain composed and rest, but Marco Verratti had other ideas. Before the game, he spent the entire evening drinking and smoking. Yet everyone was startled by what took place in the game. Verratti actually had the best passing accuracy, the most touches, and the most fouls won. Not a bad performance at all. Everyone, even his detractors, were astounded that he could perform this well despite smoking. And the same is true for the next performer on the list. Do you recall Raja Nainggolan? He genuinely smokes more than any other football player, and he wears that fact like a badge. He smoked so much while he was at AS Roma that occasionally he would go smoke with his assistant manager while his colleagues were in the locker room. Yet the startling thing was that, at least throughout his prime, his lungs never adversely affected him on the field, while his current club Royal Antwerp is not a fan of his smoking habits, especially if he does it on the pith, as Roma was okay with him smoking as long as he kept scoring there. Yes, Nainggolan chose to have a cigarette while he was sitting on the bench during a league game because he was so bored. Because of this action, Royal Antwerp ultimately suspended him. We spoke with him about a few incidents, and we've chosen to permanently remove him from the team for behavior that reflects poorly on the team. The statement reads, "That was the statement made by the club, and I'll be honest, I understand that this was pushing it. Nainggolan will surely not hire Mauricio Sarri as their manager, even if it were provided free of charge, if this is what they get for smoking on the field." Fabien Barthez is the next smoker on the list, among the most legendary French goalkeepers ever, as well as one of the team's biggest smokers. Although his smoking habit was well known, it worsened when he arrived to England to play for Sir Alex Ferguson, a coach with a no-nonsense reputation. Surprisingly, however, Sir Alex didn't even object to Fabien's smoking. In actuality, he was aware of it before to signing him. The next man is one who does a lot of drinking and smoking, which is what Ferguson had a problem with. What can I say about Wayne Rooney? One of the greatest English strikers of all time with a career at Manchester United that will go down in history. Rooney, though, was frequently seen engaging in questionable behavior, as when he was discovered urinating in public. His smoking and drinking habits, particularly the smoking, were among the reasons he was most despised by the public. Rooney's throat continued to be squeezed by the public and the media due to his smoking. Fortunately for him, Sir Alex led him to continue playing without any problems, as opposed to Ashley Cole, who was forced to leave his favorite team due to an addiction. You see, when asked who his hardest opponent was, Cristiano Ronaldo paused for a moment before shockingly naming Ashley Cole. Hence, I believe it is safe to state that Cole may be regarded as one of the greatest left-backs to ever touch the ball, although as previously mentioned, he had a bad smoking habit. Even further, Emile Heskey referred to him as a chain smoker. Although his great on-field exploits, Jose Mourinho's abhorrence of smokers put his future at Chelsea in jeopardy. Ashley, Curl refused to or was unable to give up smoking despite his best efforts. The chain smoker finally departed Chelsea at the age of 33 when he realized his time with the club was winding down. Just consider what he may have developed into if he hadn't developed a nicotine addiction. The same is true of his friend Jack Wilshere from Arsenal. To be fair, Jack was only seen smoking a cigarette once, but the English media decided to make the most of it. They made it a topic of conversation, but Wilshere wasn't bothered at all, and the reason why might surprise you. He reportedly even said, "Don't worry, when I have a drink, I like a smoke as well." Arsene Wenger, his manager, reportedly advised him to calm down and that it wasn't a huge thing. It's reassuring to have a management on your side in a scenario like that, but I'm not convinced. That's the best counsel to give a professional athlete. I believe the media, were targeting me at the time. I had assistance from the management all around me. Arsene had that kind of brilliance, said Wilshere. Wilshere's situation worsened when he was discovered smoking once more. In fact, more than once, and had to publicly apologize. Wenger handled Wilshere's predicament admirably, but Wojciech Szczesny had a very different tale to tell. Szczesny decided to walk into the dressing room after Arsenal's defeat to Southampton and blow some clouds into the air, but this was a horrible decision that would wind up costing him a lot of money. As with Wilshere, Arsene Wenger had no issues with Szczesny smoking, but he did have one unchanging rule. The changing room is a no-smoking zone. Sadly for Wojciech, someone noticed him and informed Wenger. Not only was he given a $20,000 punishment, but also, he ultimately played in just one more game for Arsenal under Wenger against Southampton. Szczesny acknowledges that he made a serious error there. Gianluigi Buffon, the man who created the legend Look Buffon, who is regarded as one of the coolest guys in football history, was photographed smoking a cigarette as Juventus advanced to the 2017 Champions League final. Even though it was the only time he was captured on tape, his former teammate Nicholas Bentner claims it wasn't the only time he smoked. He even asserted that he had seen Buffon and Andreas Pirlo smoking in the Juventus restrooms. "You know, it was my first day. Later I discovered 10 or 12 of them in the restrooms, simply enjoying a smoke, a coffee, and each other's company. That was a breathtaking sight that gave me the impression that I would love it. We'll have to accept the Lord's word for it since neither you nor I were present." The best Dutch player of all time, however, is the last person on the list, and he tragically passed away due to his smoking problem. Even if you're young, you've probably heard of Johan Cruyff because his videos have received millions and millions of views. Both as a player and a coach in football, this man won everything. 3 times, he was the Ballon d'Or winner. He won 13 league championships, 13 domestic cups, and 4 times in the European Cup, now known as the Champions League. With the exception of the World Cup, he was successful in everything. Sadly, smoking was something he loved just as much as football since it was a part of who he was. Now, estimate his daily cigarette consumption. Make a wild estimate since you might be surprised by the actual result. Bear in mind that this is a professional football player. Each day, he smoked roughly 20 cigarettes, and he was playing at the height of his powers. And after he was promoted to manager, he chose to quadruple that amount to 40. Speak of advancements. Yet Cruyff's body clearly suffered as a result of all this smoking. He also required cardiac bypass surgery in 1991. Thankfully though, everything went well, and he lived for another 25 years until succumbing to lung cancer in 2016. Age 68 is when he passed away. He was undoubtedly one of the very few individuals who was able to overcome the negative effects of smoking and accomplish amazing football results while damaging his lungs. Could you envision a top athlete today smoking a pack of cigarettes every day like Haaland, Mbappe or Neymar? Crazy, huh? Well, thanks for viewing. Please make sure to like, subscribe and watch this video on screen